Welcome to my milking cottage on the Demi Rosa. So we're gonna make butter. And I always think of the moms sitting on the porch with their churn. My family had a churn. So that's how I prefer to do it. You can use a mixer, blender, or a jar, but I just prefer my churn. And I think back in the day, moms would be sitting with their churns, and it's the only thing, not the only thing, but one of the things that you really couldn't separate your time. You were either churning or you were not. So I just think that I like to keep hands on. I may use a milking machine when I milk my cow, but I am right beside her, putting it on, feeling her bag. And with my butter, I want to watch it, see how it progresses, and I just am a hands-on girl. One of the tips that you really need to know is that your cream needs to be at least 3 days old. And I usually take my cream out of the refrigerator the night before just to knock the chill off. I don't want it to be hot, but I don't want it to be ice cold either. It just really cuts down on the churning time, and it just makes it easier to manage. So we put our cream into our churn, and now we're just gonna screw the lid down and take it off the counter so that we don't rub it. We're either gonna hold it in our lap or put it on a towel on the table so that it doesn't thin the glass. Okay, so here we are. We're going to start churning. This is a ½ gallon of cream. It's the 24th today, and this cream is from the 21st. So it's 3 days old. So churning we will go. As you can see, it's getting bigger, and it's basically gonna turn to whipped cream, and then it will move over into the whey butter situation. Here we go, it's getting larger. Okay, you can see that it's starting to do the whipped cream thing. So we're getting close. See how it's falling down now? And now we're getting down to the almost butter making. You can see how there she goes. Gonna be butter. When it gets to be butter, it gets really difficult to churn because that butter is cold and it's big in there. And now you can see the butter and the whey. There we have butter. And what we're gonna do now is wash the butter. Look at that pretty butter. Pretty butter. We're gonna wash the butter, get the whey out, wash the butter, and then we're gonna put it in molds. So to wash our butter, we're going to put cold water into our butter churn so that we can keep our butter cool and get as much of the milk whey out as we can. So then we're going to just churn it for a bit and then keep putting water in and pouring it out. Let's see. I've been told not to do that like that because it breaks these little things loose, and you certainly don't want to do that because I don't know how to get them fixed. Usually, I can just pour it through the top of the churn. This is a little buttermilky. So I'm gonna do it this way the first time. Not to waste too much butter. Now we'll put our churn lid back on. Get some more cold water running so we can continue our wash. Hard for me to remember. Okay. One more time with water, and we'll pull it out and start folding it and kneading it to get as much of the whey and milk as we can out. As you can tell, it is getting, I hope you can tell, that it's getting easier and it's less milky. Well, we're gonna finish our butter and we're going to get it into our molds, and then we're gonna get it into the freezer so that we can have some fresh butter. I've gotten the butter out of the churn, and so now we're just gonna fold it and knead it so we can try to get as much of the water out of it as possible. And it holds quite a bit, so we just keep doing this until we feel like we've gotten as much of that out as we can. Now that we've gotten most of the water and the whey out of the butter, we're going to put it in our molds. And these molds I buy at Walmart. Shame on me. But I love them because it's easy to pull out a stick of butter as opposed to a blob of butter or a bowl of butter. But this gives me a pretty good indication of a stick of butter, because that's what's supposed to go in here, just a store-bought stick. But I like to do these. Then I get the bubbles out. And it's, a process. Then now I have a stick of butter that I will be putting in the freezer. And then when they're hardened, I stick them in a gallon freezer plastic bag and either put them back in the freezer or right in the refrigerator to be used. But this is how we mold our butter. I'm gonna have a tray, and I put the tray in the freezer, and that's how I do it. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless.